So behind the scenes, I have been using the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. So this is currently my primary Android smartphone. SIM card is in there, and I do really enjoy using this phone. This is a flagship smartphone. It's powered by the Snapdragon 888. You've also got a 120Hz refresh with two AMOLED displays, so the main screen, and then you've got this customizable outer display and lots more. So once again, I present to you the CTR Mark Score. That's Chigz Tech Reviews Mark Score, which will show you exactly how good this phone is and what are its strong and weak points. So we do have 10 categories to go through, and each category can earn a maximum of 10 points. So that's a total of 100 points that this phone can potentially earn. And the closer the final score is to 100 means better overall smartphone. So I will be scoring this in real time after every round. So let's begin with round one, which is box and accessories. So we do have a very compact box, inside which all you get is a USB Type-C to Type-C cable, paperwork with SIM eject tool. Once again, no charger included or anything else. So never too impressed with these Apple/Samsung cheap ass tactics. So unfortunately for the first round, this phone achieves 2 out of 10 for the box and accessories. So next up, we are going to talk about the design and build quality. Now this is definitely one of the stronger points of this phone. It's a beautifully designed phone with a metal frame going all the way around. You have Gorilla Glass Victus on the entire back of the phone. So the top part, the bottom part is completely Gorilla Glass Victus. The hinge is protected by a strong armor aluminium frame for that extra durability, and without any doubt this is the best hinge I have ever experienced on a folding smartphone. And you can hear this. The hinge movement is very smooth and silent, not annoying at all, and it's actually very satisfying to open and close. Definitely the best hinge I've experienced on a folding smartphone. It's actually a real pleasure to fold and unfold. It doesn't get old, and it's quite addictive. So the Z Flip 3 is only 6.9mm when unfolded, so very nice and thin, as you can see. And when you fold it up, it's 17.1mm, which is not bad considering it folds and becomes half the size. Very pocket-friendly smartphone, and it weighs only 183 grams. So nice, light and thin smartphone. Very well thought design, and the durability can be felt from everyday use. I've probably flipped this phone over 100 times, and it still feels like day one. Now, quick look at the ports. At the bottom, we have microphone, Type-C and single speaker. On the side, we have a power button with the fingerprint reader built in. You've got volume rocker just above it, and at the top, you've got another mic, and just on the earpiece, you have your second loudspeaker. On the other side, you've got single 5G nano SIM tray, and you can see my SIM card is installed already. So unfortunately, there is no headphone jack or micro SD expansion. Nevertheless, for the design and build quality, I am very happy with the durability and overall design of this smartphone. It feels premium, it looks premium, and guess what guys? We have IPX8 water resistance too. So that means the Z Flip 3 achieves a 9 out of 10 for the design and build quality. This is definitely one of the most attractive reasons to buy this phone, and it's also the most enjoyable part of the phone, the design. So next round is all about that screen quality. So we have a 6.7-inch AMOLED 2x Infinity Flex 120Hz display. Now try saying that 5 times. And the screen resolution is 2640 by 1080, so that is full HD plus. You have 1200 nits of peak brightness and 900 nits typical with 425 pixels per inch. Now 120 Hz is adaptive, or you can manually set it to 60 Hz, but you cannot keep it on 120 Hz all the time, which actually makes sense considering the battery size, which we will come to later in the video. So the screen does look bright and sharp, and when using it, it looks nearly as good as any other top AMOLED smartphone. Very punchy colors and great contrast, and you've got the hole punch camera in the center. There is no Gorilla Glass protection on the front, as I don't believe Gorilla Glass can be bent this way, but instead the main screen is made from Samsung's ultra thin glass with a layer of protective film on top. So Apparently, it's actually 80% more durable than the previous Galaxy Z Flips. So yes, there is a crease in the center as expected on a folding smartphone, but nowhere near as bad as I thought it's going to be. It takes a day to get used to it, and when you're looking straight at the display, you don't actually notice the crease. It's only when you're looking at it from an angle, then the crease becomes a bit apparent. Furthermore, I've been using this phone for nearly 2 weeks now, and I've noticed that the crease has not got worse over time. It still feels like day one when you're opening and closing. So it's one hell of a durable, well-designed folding smartphone, which is the reason why I decided to pick up the Flip 3 in the first place. And yes, you do have some bezels going all the way around, although they are quite slim and probably required to keep that durability of the phone. So the display has been upgraded, and it's certainly better than the past Flip models. But that's not all. The Z Flip 3 has a secondary outer display on the cover. It's a 1.9-inch Super AMOLED display with screen res of 260 by 512 with 302 pixels per inch, and you have Gorilla Glass Victus. This screen shows you the date, time and battery life. You can see my custom Hugo Boss background there, but you can add your own picture if you like. You also have various widgets which are accessible by swiping left or right, and you can also manage these widgets quite easily by long pressing, and then you can move things around or add and remove as you please. You can also view your notifications, but they are read only, so you cannot reply from this screen. Instead, you have to open up the main screen in order to reply. Also, another cool feature which I really like is when you double tap the power button, the cover allows you to take selfies with the primary lens. Not just selfies, you can swipe left or right to switch between photo or video mode, and if you swipe up or down, you can change between ultra wide and primary. So it's actually a very good feature, especially if you're into vlogging. You can immediately start recording video without even opening the smartphone. So the overall screen quality for the Z Flip 3, including the innovative cover display, has earned itself a pretty good 8 out of 10. Now let's talk about the processing power. Now this phone is powered by no other than the Snapdragon 888. It's a 5nm octa-core chip clocked at 2.4 GHz. So Snapdragon's most powerful and latest flagship chipset included in this phone, no matter where you buy it from. So there is no Exynos version of the Flip 3. Everybody gets Snapdragon, which is definitely good news. So that means we should be getting superb performance and processing power no matter what you do on this phone. And combine that with the 120Hz refresh, you have yourself a flipping beast in your hands. So I did an Antutu benchmark test and achieved 695K. And also Geekbench, single core 1080 and multi-core 3416. So not exactly achieving the full potential of the Snapdragon chip. I don't have power save mode on or anything like that. Now other smartphones with the same Snapdragon 888 manages to achieve around the 800K mark, and I've tested this multiple times. I can't get higher than 695. Which is definitely the lower end of what this chip can do. It almost feels like it's been underclocked. And also 695 is not actually a low score, so there is still plenty of power and performance. It's just not the full capability of the chip. Therefore, this smartphone gets a 7 out of 10 for processing power. Now, one way to really test the performance of a smartphone is to try running 3 back-to-back benchmark tests to see if the phone struggles, overheats, or experiences CPU throttling, or all of the above. So I did run 3 back-to-back Antutu benchmark tests. So starting temperature 33 degrees, first test 695K, and the temperature after the first test went up to 35 degrees. So here are the results for the second test, 664K, and the temperatures went up to 37 degrees. And in the third test, we achieved 652K, and the temperatures managed to remain at 37 degrees. So after 3 benchmark tests, it looks like the performance has dropped slightly from 695 to 652K. But fortunately, the phone has not gone past 37 degrees after 3 heavy graphic tests. Now, the phone did feel quite warm to the touch. So it means, although this phone can handle gaming and other graphic intensive tasks, you're still not getting the full performance that this chipset is capable of. A dip in performance is normal for nearly all smartphones, and I did not experience any lag, throttling, or overheating. So I guess the Z Flip 3 earns a decent 7 out of 10 in this category for sustaining the overall performance when pushed to the limit. Now on to the disk speeds. This phone has 128 gigs of UFS 3.1, and the disk speed can determine how fast an app opens or how fast you can copy a file to and from your device. So as you can see, this smartphone achieved 770 megabytes per second write and 316 megabytes per second read. So the internal disk speeds are okay, they are decent enough, but they're definitely not as fast as you usually get with UFS 3.1. UFS 3.1 gives you at least 1 gig of read speeds and around 500 megabytes per second write speeds. So not the full potential of UFS 3.1, nevertheless still fairly fast. Therefore it gets a 7 out of 10 for disk speeds. Now let's talk about the OS. This phone is running Android 11 with One UI 3.1.1 on top. The overall navigation is very smooth. Even in 60 Hz, you're getting a fast and smooth experience thanks to the chipset. Also, there is hardly any bloatware included. You get the usual Google, Microsoft and Samsung apps, which I actually think are quite useful, but easy to uninstall if they're not your cup of tea. Now, along with the usual Samsung themes and wallpapers, you can also customize the UI. So the home screen settings allows you to mess around with the grid, the icons and lots more. You can also customize the lock screen and cover screen with the always on display feature available for both main screen and outer screen, and you can also add wallpapers and widgets to both. Now for security and biometrics, you have face unlock and side fingerprint sensor built into the power button, which you can see works extremely well. So the fingerprint sensor is great, however the face unlock is a little slow, and I'll show you it in action. It has a small pause every time you try to unlock, instead of just instantly unlocking when it sees your face. Now under display options, you do have easy mode, edge panels, navigation bar, and the option to increase touch sensitivity. The side key or power button can be customized. So by default, when you double press it, it quick launches the camera, but you can change that option to opening Bixby or any other app of your choice. So One UI is nice to use. It's refined, it's smooth, it's fast in operation, and it works very well with no lag or any buggy issues. So for this round, System OS, this phone gets an 8 out of 10. Now coming to the cameras. We have dual cameras on the back. 12 megapixel primary, which is a Sony IMX563, and it can shoot 4K at 60 frames per second. There is also a 12 megapixel ultra wide, which is also a Sony sensor. It's the Sony IMX258, and you can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second max. On the front, we have a 10 megapixel Sony selfie camera. It's the IMX374, which is also capable of 4K 60. So this Samsung phone has all Sony sensors, and I really don't have a problem with that. Camera menus, you've got single take, portrait, photo, video, and then you've got more. And under more, you have a whole bunch of options there, which include food mode, portrait, pro mode, slow motion, super slow motion, hyperlapse, director's view, and a few others to play around with.
And here are a few sample shots for you guys to check out.
Shots look pretty good, especially in good lighting. So you can take some decent photos with this phone.
And now here are some video quality samples.
So video quality when shooting 4K 60 looks good and detailed, especially if you're standing still whilst filming. However, the moment you start walking or moving, you will discover that there is no stabilization available in 4K 60 and the video becomes a shaky mess.
Now switching over to 4K at 30 frames per second, and this time the video looks a lot more stable. However, there is a very slight jittering as I walk. So not the smoothest stabilization, but overall video quality and end result looks much better than 4K 60. Alright, so I'm going to switch to the wide angle lens. Here we go, in real time while shooting video. Again, I'm not seeing that stabilization. But if I stand still and just pan the camera, the actual video quality looks really, really good.
So certainly not the best video recording, especially for a flagship smartphone. I've seen budget mid-rangers give better video results than this phone. And of course, video quality deteriorates as you lower the resolution further. So quite disappointing with video capture, which is quite important for someone in my field. Even the standard S21 smartphone has better video recording than the Z Flip 3.
Photos and selfies are pretty good, but disappointing video performance with quite bad stabilization, giving us an overall below average camera experience, meaning I can't give this phone more than 4 out of 10 in the camera department.
Samsung definitely could have done better with the cameras, especially at this price point. Okay, so now it's time for the speaker test. This phone has dual speakers. You've got one bottom firing and one top firing. It also does support Dolby Atmos sound. And the first time I heard some music on this phone, I was straight away impressed with the audio clarity and how loud the volume gets without any distortion. Here's a quick taste. So the dual speakers are surprisingly good, exceeded my expectations straight away. 9 out of 10 for the speaker quality, people. Next round, battery performance. Now the biggest worry when you're considering to buy this phone is the battery size. You only have a 3,300 milliamp hour capacity and only 15 watt fast charging. I'm sorry Samsung, 15 watt is no longer considered fast charging. That's more like slow charging. Maybe 3 years ago 15 watts would have been considered fast. You're also getting 10 watts wireless charging, which is also pretty darn slow. It takes about 1 hour, 24 minutes to fully charge this smartphone from 0 to 100 using a fast wired charger. Now screen on time is only around 4 to 5 hours max, and that's with medium to light usage. And here is an example of one of my days. 13 hours and 51 minutes the battery lasted. Screen on time, 3 hours and 55 minutes. I had a 4% battery before I took this screenshot. So you can see 33 minutes of camera work took a large 23% chunk of the battery. Call of Duty for 20 minutes took 5% battery. You can see the percentages on the side. 24 minutes of Antutu, 19 minutes of 3D benchmarking, that's going to be with Antutu, 13 minutes of YouTube, 10 minutes of WhatsApp, 10-minute duo call, some web browsing with Chrome. We've got messing around with Facer for 3 minutes, Netflix for 2 minutes, just testing it, and so on and so forth. So not heavy usage at all. I would call this medium to light usage, or just light usage, to be honest. I could only achieve 3 hours and 55 minutes, but the phone did last me all day. Started in the morning around 7 o'clock with a full 100% battery, and you can see the time there, 10:41 at night, and I've got a 4% battery left. Now for the average consumer like me and you, it's a poor battery performance, and it's made even worse by the 15 watt charging, and no charger in the box adds insult to injury. Therefore, the Z Flip 3 gets a 2 out of 10 in the battery department. So there you have it, guys. That was my breakdown review of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3, covering everything from the design, the specs, the screen, performance, cameras, and lots more. So very interesting results, and here is a complete breakdown of how this phone has scored in every round. So the Z Flip 3 has achieved a total CTR Mark Score of 63 out of 100. Now the CTR Mark Score is just for entertaining purposes, but at the same time, you're still getting a pretty good idea of what this device is capable of. Now I understand it's a thin, foldable smartphone, and there are limitations to what is possible, but there are quite a few compromises. No headphone jack, no Gorilla Glass, poor camera quality, poor battery life, slow charging, not achieving the full potential of the Snapdragon 888. It might be underclocked to save it from overheating, and even the disk speeds were not the normal UFS 3.1 standard. Even they seemed a bit lower than expected. However, the price is more or less £1,000 or $1,000. For that price, there are plenty of super flagship smartphones that you could buy, but you're not going to get a folding phone like this for this price. Now, the specs and features and performance no way matches the price point. A fair price, I think, for this phone would be around $699 or $799, and even that seems a bit high, but considering the excellent build quality, I would personally be happy to pay $799, and the compromises would then be slightly easier to digest. But $1,000 seems overpriced for what you're getting. Now, I do feel like returning this phone as the value for money is definitely not there. It's actually worth paying extra and getting the S21 Ultra, which is a hybrid monster and beast of a smartphone, or even an iPhone 12 standard model is better value than the Flip 3. Furthermore, there are so many mid-range to flagship phones from Redmi, Poco, Realme, all offering better value than this phone. But none of them offer this flipping good clamshell design that the phone has. Even though I really like the clamshell design, I love opening and closing it. It's not got old yet. I really like the build quality. It's a marvel of a design, and that design alone makes me want to keep it. But as a content creator, I would struggle to use this personally as my daily driver, especially when I cannot rely on the cameras. If they just gave us better sensors or stabilization at least, this could have been my daily driver. I would have made it work. Now, my genuine opinion shows in my scores. 63 out of 100 makes this phone just slightly above average. This phone will actually not suit an average consumer like me and you, who spend a lot of time on their phone. This phone would actually suit a modest consumer, someone who likes using their smartphone primarily as a phone for phone calls, and then from time to time may snap a photo here and there, or even watch the odd YouTube video. So a modest consumer could use this phone as their daily driver, no problem at all. The Z Flip 3 offers enough style and elegance to turn heads. Now, in my life, I can think of my parents as modest consumers. Of course, everyone's parents are different. Some may be more advanced than their own children, but I think you get my point. So what do you guys think? How would you guys score it? Do let me know in the comments. I'm thinking of putting the Galaxy Fold 3 through the paces and test its CTR score. Let me know if you guys want to see that. Also, just want to give you a quick look at some cases that are available. So I've got 3 cases here. So these 2 have been sent to me by Mobile Fun, and this one is by Spec. So I'll quickly show you Spec's case. This is a proper durable drop tested case. It's called the Presidio Perfect Clear Fold. If you need master protection, we're talking about proper drop protection from a 4-meter distance, then this case will give you that, but it's making the phone very thick and bulky than it needs to be. But the option is there for those of you who want your phone protected, but at the same time still be able to see the nice color of your smartphone. Now, so that's the Spec Presidio. We have 2 cases here by Mobile Phone. One is the Olixar, and the other one is the Samsung silicone ring cover case, official case. So that basically slips on, gives you a very nice grip. Yeah, I definitely like this case. It's like a rubberized texture on it, and you've got a ring, giving you more confidence in case you're someone who drops their phone a lot. Very nice idea by Samsung. So this one over here is called the Olixar. It's a simple black case, flips on nicely, and again keeps your phone nice and slim. So all 3 cases will be linked in the description. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.